Greetings everyone, Slizzle466 here, and in today's video I have 27 decks to share for the wild mode based on the first 2 weeks of the Alterac Valley expansion. Most of these are meta decks, but for the off-meta decks I'll let you know when we approach them. We're also going to be going pretty quick through the decks to keep the video short, 30 to 60 seconds per deck, and we start with Aggro Demon Hunter. New archetype for wild. This archetype is becoming a thing because of the token support it received from Alterac Valley. Not all the token synergy is in here, but ones to note are the Battle-Worn Vanguard, 2 mana 2/2 after your hero attacks, summon 2/1/1 Fellwings, and you've got Courteous Demon Render, so as long as you have lots of minions on the board to attack with, you can use your hero power multiple times and do an incredible amount of face damage. Moving to Hunter, we've got Odd Questline Hunter, no new cards. I chose this specific list because I like the Auction Master Beardo. You can get the OTK rolling before you actually complete your quest line. I also like the Collate Oracles because one, you draw through your deck, but secondly, it's good to play around Dirty Rat. Secret Hunter. This is an off-meta deck, but I consider it very, very strong. I've had a lot of success with it myself. This specific list gets some great new tools from Dun Balder Bunker. Ice Trap is pretty insane. Drekthar pulls the Crossword Gossipers and or the Cloaked Hunters from your deck. Spring the Trap helps you control the board and pull secrets out of your deck. Honorable Kill, you can pull 2 secrets. And then Beastalker Tavish is just a good value card. You get improved secrets, you get a cool hero power. Fantastic deck. Moving to Druid, we have Linecracker Druid. This is off meta. So for those of you not familiar with the combo, you gain a horrendous amount of armor by playing Linecracker, Bees, and Earthen Scales. Now, of course, you need a way to cheat mana. And so you've got tools such as Floop's Glorious Goop to help you do that, or the new Druid mana cheat hero, Wildheart Guff, which lets you get all the way up to 20 maximum mana. If the combo doesn't work out, you get dirty ratted, things go wrong, you've got Jade Idol as a backup plan, and you become a Jade Druid. Cthulhu Druid. This is a new list that Martian came up with. Pretty cool list. Basically, it's based around Cthulhu the Shattered. So you get those 4 pieces into your deck. You can then, once you've played those 4 pieces and draw the Cthulhu, you can deal 30 damage randomly split among enemies. You can manipulate it so that you can draw it off Moonlit Guidance to get multiples of them. And you can also play around Dirty Rat because you have over 10 mana, so you can, say for example, on 15 mana, play the last Cthulhu spell, play the Cthulhu and win. And then the last Druid deck here is an aggro deck by Oxykid. This deck has been updated for the Alterac Valley meta. You've got the Iron Deep Trogs, which are absolutely insane. You'll see this in quite a few aggro decks, just great against the spell decks to deal with. And of course you can buff it with Embiggen, for example, Adorable Infestation, a variety of different things in the deck. Composting is great just to be able to cycle harder through your deck so you don't see things like Voracious Reader in this list. You'll also notice there's no Savage Roar in here. Arbor Up, even though it's 5 mana, it's just really, really good because you also get some extra minions on the board. But yeah, really fast games. Good deck to try out. Secret Mage. So this is a list by Corbett. It's pretty ordinary, though he has included a couple new cards here. He's including the Shivering Sorceress, 1 mana 2/2 Battle Cry. Reduce the cost of the highest cost spell in your hand by 1. And we're not running Fireballs here, but we're running Cloud Princess, so the highest cost spell here is going to be your secrets, and that's fine because you want to be cheating out secrets, whether it's for free or cheap. So definitely, if you want to play Secret Mage, and I know my cousin does, this is how you do it. Ignite Mage. I couldn't find a list tied to a specific player, but basically the stock list is the list running the Sanctum Chandlers, the Elemental Evocations to cheat them out, and then basically playing infinite Ignites. There's nothing new in the list though, but if you like to play Ignite, there you go. Flamewaker APM. This is the deck that I took to Legend when the expansion launched. Siphon Mana is really, really good. It's worth cutting a couple cards to include it. Otherwise, though, it's a solid deck. It loses to aggro, but it beats control decks pretty easily. It requires a bit of a skill cap because of the APM nature, but if this is something you want to try out, I highly recommend it. Luna's Pocket Galaxy Mage. I have tested this list. It's incredible. This is a list by Nops that was slightly modified by a list from Jack. And it's just really, really fun. It's got a whole bunch of stuff. I could talk about it for 5 minutes, but I want to cut things short. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. It's very expensive, as you can see. But yeah, if you want to play some Reno Mage, some LPG Mage, highly, highly recommend this list. Moving to Priest. Big Priest. It's back. Kinda. Zarilla the Devout triggers death rattles of every friendly minion that died this game. Funnily enough, I have a positive win rate with this deck, but I never actually drew Zarilla over like 8 games. I don't know why. So maybe she's not needed. It's just Big Priest is just obnoxious, but there you go. Big Priest. Aggro Priest. Still a very, very strong deck. As for new cards, you're running the Iron Deep Trog because it's just a solid card to put in any aggro deck. But otherwise, it's the Aggro Priest that we know from the previous expansion. It's got the Pirate tech in there. Very strong. I should also mention it's also got the Hunter tech with the Robes of Protection. Okay, moving to Paladin. Handbuff Paladin. Handbuff Paladin got a bunch of new toys. Again, Iron Deep Trog. It's an aggro card. You've got Stonehearth Vindicator. 3 mana, 3/1 Battlecry. Draw a spell that costs 3 or less. It costs 0 this turn. So just to get some of your cheaper end down here. The card that throws this deck over the edge is Lightforged Carriel. It's the hero power that's absolutely insane. Giving a random minion in your hand +4/+4. It helps you kind of control the board a bit. The weapon's great. You are reducing... That weapon also reduces the damage you take to half, rounded up to the next integer. But basically you can just kind of... If you haven't killed your opponent by the mid-game, you can just kind of hang out with a Stone Tusk Boar in your hand and just buff it every single turn. And eventually do a horrendous amount of damage. Aggro Paladin. Okay, so this is aggro or tax Paladin, if you will. Iron Deep Trog. Again, aggro card. Really good. The Stonehearth Vindicator's in there again. You got the Dun Baldar Bridge, which is great because keep in mind that when the Iron Deep Trogs are getting copied by your opponent, they'll get buffed by the bridge. Lightforged Carriel's in there, which is great. You'll also notice that a few of these decks have Living Dragon Breath in them. You may have seen them in previous ones. I didn't mention it very well. This is a tech against Free Shaman, which we're going to talk about later. Free Shaman is one of the best decks in the wild meta right now. And so if you're a board-based deck and you're trying to kill your opponent, it's kind of hard when they're frozen. So Living Dragon Breath gets around that. Moving to Rogue. Rogue is that's an interesting one. We got some quirky decks here. Starting with Quest Rogue. This isn't that quirky, to be honest. And if you watch my channel regularly, I kind of wrote this deck off the first couple minutes into the video. and then I just started slaughtering my opponents, and I actually have something like a 70 to 80% win rate with this list. The deck is nuts. There isn't that much new stuff in here. In fact, the only new card is Ram Commander. You get the Rams in your hand, which is great. It helps you with your quest. Some players like to run Scabs, the new 7-mana hero. I think it's a bit clunky myself. But yeah, if you want to play Quest Rogue, this is a really fun list. Pillager Rogue, there's nothing new in here, and this is a deck that is too big brain for me. I've tried to play it, and it's just not for me. But basically, you do a bunch of fancy magic, you smack your opponent in the face with Spectral Pillages, and you win. You gotta be smart to play the deck, though. Same applies to Miracle Rogue. Again, it's a pretty crazy deck, though it is very well built. So it's not a meme, but it is difficult to play. This specific build is all about cheating out Giant Edwins, and then, if possible, also giving the new Edwin charge with Mr. Smite. Again, kind of reducing the cost of everything, doing all sorts of crazy magic tricks. Again, this is not a deck for me, but if it's a deck for you, then definitely give this one a try. Moving to Shaman. We start with Galakron Shaman. This is the weakest of the Shaman lists I am going to feature today, and this is probably borderline off meta. Initially, when players were playing around with Shaman at the beginning of the Alterac Valley expansion, they were all taken in the Galakron package. The Galakron package has mainly been cut from most lists now because it is just a touch too slow. But otherwise, if you want to play Galakron Shaman, you've got all your good Shaman stuff in here. Basically, the cards that are really bumping up the power level of Shaman are the Sleet Breaker to get the Wind Chills in your hand. The Wind Chill is also a fantastic card, and the Snowfall Guardian is absolutely insane. This is the best Shaman deck here, possibly one of the best decks in the meta. Maybe better than Odd Questline Hunter, but I wouldn't claim that yet. But I've only played 3 games of this, and I absolutely slaughtered my opponents with the list. Again, you got the Sleep Breakers, the Wind Chills, the Snowfall Guardians. Basically, once you get the Snowfall Guardian going, you keep on repeating the battle cry over and over again. You've got the Zentimo in here, which synergizes great with the Wind Chill for a 3 minion freeze. Or you can Zentimo and put a Wind Fury on your own board and get some triple Wind Fury action going. Just ridiculous list, ton of fun, something new to play in Wild. And then we have Reno Shaman. This list I was hesitant to play at first. Especially with the double Dirty Rat in there. If you don't like running duplicates in your Reno Shaman, I would recommend cutting the Dirty Rat for a Mutinous. But otherwise, the deck performed really well. It's very well teched for the meta. It's got the Boom Pistol Bully and the Loatheb in here, which really messes with a lot of other archetypes. You've also got the Nerubian Unraveler for the annoying Questline Hunters. You've also got a fair amount of Death Rattles in here, and so bringing them back from N'Zoth is pretty nice. Shadowwalk also repeats that N'Zoth ability. So yeah, this list is great. I had a lot of fun with it. Recommended. And then we move to the slew of Warlock decks, starting with Reno Warlock. There are no new cards in this list. However, this list is teched very well for the current meta. Just to mention a couple of techs. Cult Neophyte for Hunter, Demonic Project for Questline decks, Dirty Rat, of course, for Questline decks. Scrolling through. Again, Nerubian Unraveler for Hunter. Skulking Geist because mages are annoying. Ticketus I'm not a fan of, but it's in there for some reason. I'm not going to question Evil Devil, he's a fantastic player. Mutinous is because Questline decks are annoying. It's actually not too greedy on the top end, which I like. So if you want to play Reno Lock, this is an efficient way to do so. Cute Warlock, no new cards. I used to run it with Drekthar, but it was pretty bad, to be honest. Drekthar was fun, but didn't help that much. So Drekthar cut. So no new cards, but very strong list. Even Rhinolock. So again, teched carefully for the current meta. So again, you see the Cult Neophyte, the Demonic Project, the Dirty Rat, Big Game Hunter. This helps against other Warlocks, but also helps against Snowfall Guardians from the Shamans. But otherwise, nothing new in here. But again, it's well made. It's teched well. If you want to play even Rhinolock, there you go. Mecha'thun Warlock. Mecha'thun is back, and the reason it is back is because it has a failsafe. Tamsin's Phylactery. So basically, why this is in the deck is if your Mecha'thun gets pulled off a Dirty Rat and dies, that's okay. Because essentially, because this is the only... I believe it's the... Oh, you discover the Death Rattle. So there are a couple of other Death Rattles in the list, such as Blood Mage Thalnos, but as long as you just keep it at 3 or less, you can guarantee to trigger the Cthulhu Death Rattle, and you'll be... you give the minions the Death Rattle, but then essentially you turn your board into Mecha'thuns, and you win, making sure that you have an empty deck, Cataclysm, and you win. Another great card that really helps the archetype from Alterac Valley is the Dreadlich Tamsin. Battlecry, deal 3 damage to all minions, shuffle 3 rifts into your deck, draw 3 cards, so it's great for cycling. The hero power is great, board control is great, just a solid card. I don't think it was in the even Reno list. I'm just going to double check and go back. Maybe it was. No, it wasn't. Probably we don't want to include it in even Rena because the even hero power is so good. Even Lock. So this one's in the list though. So this is basically a more aggressive version of the Reno build. So because you've got the duplicates, it is a lot more consistent. You'll see a lot of familiar cards though. Again, Cult Neophyte, Dirty Rat, Dreadlich Tamsin again, just solid card. It's got Lokhala the Ice Lord, which is great. But it's also got a Wailing Soul. And again, the Wailing Soul is in here as a tech against the free Shamans. Giant Warlock. Giant Warlock is also very strong. Again, I've played a bunch of this list. There's nothing new in here. But it does have a Living Dragon Breath. Again, it's a tech against the Shamans. You may not be seeing free Shaman too much yourself if you're at lower ranks, but once you start to climb up further, or as the meta progresses, you're going to see a lot more free Shaman on the ladder. So this is a great tech against it. And last but not least, it's Pirate Warrior. There's nothing new. I personally don't like the Mr. Smite in the list, but this was the best list I found. If you want to cut Mr. Smite, maybe put in the 3-mana girl. Where is she? The 3/4 girl. Whatever her name is. Wherever she is, put her in the deck. Not Rikara. There she is. Stormwind Freebooter. Put her in. She's pretty good. But if you like Mr. Smite, keep it in. But yeah, that's all. 27 decks. All the deck codes are in the description below. If you're a mobile user and it is difficult for you to copy those codes, there is an easy to enter link to my Discord. You can visit the deck lists only channel and you will find all of the deck codes in there. Much easier to copy and paste on a mobile device. If you want to help support this channel, you can click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and until next time, hope to see you again.